Okay. Now, you have you have told this story about what was told to the public, related to the public as a hack, but it really wasn't a hack.
Ah, you mean the TAC files? Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes, yes.
so that was a really strange happening. So, uh, almost it's over 10 years ago. I was instructed to go and remove some files to migrate them to another database. So I went with one of those old school hard drives. It was metal with the orange rugged thing because supposedly if it had, those silicon feet, it wouldn't break. And I migrated a lot of passport and other private information of, people like Barack Hussein Obama, Hillary Clinton, Oprah. There was stuff on Ellen DeGeneres. I had things from Tom Hanks. I saw everything. Passport data. And not only that, but their travel data, right? And other things. And so I took that and made two copies, two hard drives, but back even in the year from between 2005 and 2010, transferring or loading information onto a hard drive wasn't always, you know, guaranteed, right? Especially when they were bulkier, right? And so I did that. And then, a couple of months later, like way later, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, the State Department was like totally hacked. And it was TAC. And no, it was Stanley Inc. And then these three people from a contractor of tax, right? Because it's always a contractor of a contractor of a contractor. It's like we don't have federal employees, right? They supposedly did it, and one of them commits suicide. And I remember thinking, wait a minute, they didn't hack anything. I took it off there. Shh, no, we're talking about something else. I was like, no, we're talking about what I put on a drive. And it's like, keep your mouth shut. And it's like, all right, how many more years do I got to do that? All right, then. So it was never a hack. I actually removed the files. I was told to remove the files.
Do you know who put them out in the public domain?
Well, they weren't really put out in the public domain.
They just said they were hacked.
Yeah, that's it. It was just BS. They were like, we're trying to figure out who hacked it. And it's like, come on, man. It's like 2008. Are you kidding? Like, what kind of hacking capabilities supposedly were there? And, you had to be really specific to get into places, okay, for information like that and be so selective too. I mean, you either copy stuff or you know where you're going to copy stuff. And the longer you're in the system and you're picking files out,
Yeah.
the faster you get caught. Like, it was so stupid that the people believe that.
Okay, so the question I have is, why would the State Department have information on Tom Hanks and Ellen and Oprah? I can
Magic
see.
Johnson,
Yeah,
OJ.
I can. I mean, I can understand, Obama and people in the government, but why private citizens?
So what do you mean by private citizens?
Well, were they not private citizens? Or maybe they were affiliated with the government somehow?
Well, look at them now. I mean, back then it wasn't so evident, right? But they
Right.
just, they're part of that conglomerate to hijack everyone's reality and tell them what to think, where to go, how to look, how to eat. It's all part of it.
Okay, so let's go through that list. If you can talk about this, how do they utilize Oprah?
Okay, so I can't say, right, what I saw, because the one thing that I uphold always is our rights, right? So even if you're, horrific and you're scum like them, you still have rights. So I won't say what I've seen, but what I can say is what we are seeing in the public sphere, right? We've all seen how Oprah with Weinstein was like handing off little girls and aspiring actresses, right? We all see how she was used in the 90s and the early 2000s to promote agendas of the administrations, right? We all see how they amplify messages. So it's all the same thing. She was a very big proponent for everything in Africa. You know, she has
Uh,
a lot of fingers with these NGOs, man. A lot of them.
and so, what about Ellen? You know, she was. I don't know if you're aware of this. I don't know if you're did looked into the Las Vegas shooting a few years, 3 years ago. But Ellen was the only one to interview the security guard that supposedly saved the day on the 34th floor. Any insights into that?
Well, you know, Laura Loomer is a very good friend of mine, right? And she covered that in her pajamas, right? And she flew out there and went to a press conference and had them change the timeline on the spot. The whole thing was a sham.
Right,
So, you know, that was all fixed. I mean, these are all pretenders, actors. They're all part of this, you know, well-oiled machine of corruption. And it's not so much, it is a shadow government. It is a global shadow government. And we are simply the pawns. Uh, you know, it's only now in the age of information that being ignorant is simply a choice. Okay. And we can see it now. All of these things right now that we are seeing, like, oh my gosh, did that guy just eat somebody? Oh my gosh, why did someone, you know, like the weirdest story I ever covered last year was some guy being pulled over with over 300 penises, human penises in his trunk. And it's like, what? Like, you know, how does that even happen? I bet you it's happened before, but we didn't have the extent of access to communication, right?
right.
But what they've done after the election of President Trump is deploy something called Operation Gridlock. And we're seeing that. We are so congested with information now, we don't even know where to look.
Yeah,
We've,
yes,
we've got, you know, the Project Mockingbird, where they're all saying the same thing. They find the key words together, right? So now we're going to see Stonewall come out and oh, delays and oh, this, right? They find these little keywords and all of them say it as a mockingbird. Then you have a lot of independent journalists, and they're independent. It's like a spectrum of truth. It's like nobody can sit in the middle and say black, white, black, white. It's all got to be like shades of gray. It's driving me insane. You know, even the good guys, the ones that think they're good guys, right?
yeah, right,
You
right.
know? So
Okay. Now, before we leave Job, who does he report to?
see, that's a question I even asked my listeners. I mean, and I tweeted out, I'm like, who is they? Who are the ones that are really in charge? Because, you know, there's always a role, kind of like in the mob, right? There was like what, Jimmy Two Fingers, Mr. All Clap Your Knees, right? There's always this structure, right?
Yep.
Brennan is the connections guy that gets things done. He's the corruption whisperer, right? He created Barack Hussein Obama. People need to understand that before Barack Hussein Obama ran, Brennan was his advisor as senator. So he rolled him out. And this was his pet project. And all over the media in 2008, if you go back and look at their reportings, they claim that the only reason he won was because of social media, right? So they deployed their new weapon, this new weapon that I was part of, that they created over the years. It's a reality hacking weapon, but they changed it into internet. It's like interactive internet activities is what it's called, IIA. And that was actually deployed with ShadowNet. And I know I've actually spoken with the guy. I can't wait to meet him in a couple weeks in person too. A former U.S. Army. He was a contractor too, right? That created ShadowNet so that they can deploy it on the internet, right? And this is a weapon that we were using against enemies that they are now and have been using against
Against
us.
us. Uh-huh.
And Bill Binney talked about it too, right? With his
Yeah.
software. You know, this is a, you know, when your government is attacking you, you know, that's a big deal. Especially when they're using weapons that they have deployed against other nations. For me, I find that extremely disheartening because, you know, I mean, let me put it this way. Did you go outside today at all just to get
Yep.
some sun? All right.
hmm
How many people did you see with masks?
I don't recall seeing any.
Oh my gosh, I saw like so many of them.
Did you really?
So many of them. And, and they were trying to mask shame me too. Like, why aren't you wearing them? I can't wait till I created this mask that says, forced to wear this because Democrats want to steal the elections on it. So if I go to the doctor, the hospital, I have to wear it, right?
Yeah.
But they were mask shaming me. This is just how nuts people. I saw people wearing masks in their car.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then all these stores have one-way systems and stuff. I went to Whole Foods and they're like, you go one way here, 6 feet. And, I was going to grab a package of chicken yesterday because I went over a friend's house for Memorial Day weekend yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was far from the woman. She parked her cart. So she had it parked right in front of there. And she started tutting in, excuse me. And I was like, she's way over 6 feet away from me. Was she upset that I leaned over her cart? And all she did was tut her teeth because she's like, you're going the wrong way. You're not going through the one-way system. I'm like, damn, this woman needs institutionalized, environment to function. It's really bad. It's so bad the way
Well,
it is.
I feel lucky then because I haven't experienced that in the grocery store. Everybody goes wherever they go, and one day I asked one of the people working there. She had a mask on, and I asked her, where something was, and I patted her on the back, and I said, "Thank you very much." She didn't do anything or say anything. I mean, I look at them, the people with the mask, and I smirk. And I shake my head and I just dare them to say something, but none of them have yet. So it's just disgusting to me. It really is. It's just disgusting. But anyway,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of states that have it worse than where we are. And I'm not very happy about how slow things are opening. I mean, I don't think I've had a haircut in 3 months, and I'm not going to wear a mask now to go get a haircut. So I guess I'll just have to wait another month or two till they loosen up the restrictions on that so I can go in and get a haircut. Otherwise, I guess I won't. I
Well,
just refuse to do it.
Well, the thing is, it's like, this is how we see just how easily convinced people are that they're going to die. And if you read the box of these masks, they tell you they do not protect you from viruses. Like, it says it explicitly on the back. Explicit. It's not like, oh, it might not. It's like, it totally does not. And it even says coronavirus. No, it doesn't help you. So then why are we wearing it? And then other people are like, you have to wear it to protect others. Well, you could wear your own. I don't care. My body, my choice. I mean, you want to use it for killing people. Let's use it for killing people on hospital, killing yourself too. I don't want to wear it. My body, my choice. Hey. But it's pretty bizarre. I mean, I've never seen this level of control over a population. It's horrific.
It is. And it's the same thing. It's like the vaccine thing. The parents that want to have their kids vaccinated don't want unvaccinated children around their vaccinated children. It's like, well, why do you get them vaccinated if are they not going to be protected if they're vaccinated? Why do you care if unvaccinated people are around your children if you've got them vaccinated? Same thing with the mask. I mean, how is me wearing a mask going to make your mask more effective? It's not, right? I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. It's just totally ridiculous. And I don't know. I hope this ends pretty soon because I'm
Well,
I'm at my wit's end.
Yeah, but you do know, like, if one thing that I want to point out, so much hypocrisy aside from that, CDC's website, the victims supposedly, right? They're only male and female. I thought we had like 31 genders. Where'd that happen? Where'd that go? Suddenly no one's upset about that anymore.
Right.
And it's all rubbish. It's like they make it a problem like later when they don't have a problem to complain about.
Right.
You insulted me. You called me a she. Long hair, boobs, heels, assuming a she. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm a they. She.
Right.
I'm not going to confuse my kid by raising it different. And that's the other thing. Our kids are going to be walking into school next fall so woke. I mean, kids are starting to realize things. I mean, I have a 14-year-old at home, and all they do is talk politics now.
Really?
Yeah. And so many of them are like, he's so racist. And they're like, wait a minute, why is he racist? I don't know. And conversations ensue. All of them think it's stupid about the mask. They think it makes no sense. They love the free money that mom and dad got, but it's like, get mom out of the house. We need to socialize. Kids are asking for it, to get out of the house and do
Right.
things. But they are actually starting to talk politics. It's all over their social media. Like, I was watching my daughter going back and forth with like 6, 7 of her friends on some shared chat app, and they were all talking politics. And I was looking at her, I was like, you don't even know what you're talking. But I was like, you know what? She's 14. I don't care. She was saying things, and I was like, that's not correct. um, she was like, Senator Biden. I was like, he's not. He's former vice president, and he thinks he's running for senator. She's like, whatever, mom, just butt out. I'm just, they're all talking and having conversations about these things, because even the children are getting to realize that this is all, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Right. Right. Well, that's good. I mean, I think this is just going to be like everything else. It's going to backfire on them. At least I'm hoping so, because I'm concerned with the voting. I'm concerned with the way that's headed with the mail-in ballots. What do you think about that?
Well, so that's what they're trying to do. We all know, and I said this in March, right? When all of this started, first of all, the first week of March, I said, this is kind of behaving like AIDS. Maybe we should look at this guy's research that I work with that saw the relationship between AIDS and malaria. I was kind of hinting. Malaria, and we have drugs for that stuff, and we could take a look. So that was the first week of March. I mean, advantage, I can time travel. But then, I kind of hinted to the fact that this is about impeachment. This is about elections. This is all about elections. They want you to mail in votes, and right now I've got ballots probably sent all over the nation where I lived. I mean, even, my mother, who's currently stuck in Greece, right? She was there when the whole thing came, and she was like, I'm not going to ask the State Department to fly me in. I'll just sit here. She got like 4 ballots there. She got one for my daughter, one for me. And they know we live here. I mean, my daughter's enlisted in the U.S. Army. Like, why are they sending a ballot out to another country? And it's all the Democrats, of course, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They said one for me, one for my dead father, and, my mother. And it's like, come on, man, are we being serious? Like, they're all going everywhere. So, my daughter, she's in another state than me. She received ballots there. I got some here. It's like they're banking on this. They are legit banking on this. It was all about the election. It is all about impeachment. They wanted to say that, he was wrong. He didn't move fast enough while, he shut it down, State of the Union, right?
Yep.
We had Pelosi talking about fortune cookies at the end of February in San Francisco and saying you should all be out, don't go home and stuff.
And ice cream. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's what I said to my listeners the day she was there, and I played that clip. I said, remember this clip because it's going to be really important, later. And, all my listeners were like, what are you talking about? She was just saying that fortune cookies are made in America. I said, no, she was telling people that there's nothing wrong. And she was in Chinatown saying, don't be racist against the Chinese.
Right.
And then they're like, he didn't move fast enough. It's like, what? Like I said years ago, even if he cures cancer, they're going to want their cancer back.
Right.
They can never be satisfied because he's there. He's destroying them. He's destroying a global group, right? It's not just local.
Right.
It's global.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Now there's another senator very close to Pelosi in California, and Diane China Girl Feinstein, right? You want to talk about her?
Oh my God. So I actually have an article. The first part is done. I just haven't made it public yet. Like, I published it, but it's not public facing yet because I wanted to put part 2 too. So her career was built on a double murder, right? Complete double murder. And obviously ended on double agent. And what people don't realize is that Pelosi, Feinstein, and all of them had a group. They were together in the 70s. You know, Pelosi got into politics in the 70s. She became Northern California's Democratic chair, and then she went, to the DNC, and then she ran for office. That's how she progressed, right? But let's not forget that Pelosi wanted to showcase her, I would say, her pull. So you saw her go to Tiananmen Square, where she supposedly said, I went there and I protested. No, she didn't. She just walked out of the hotel, did it kind of like Ocasio-Cortez. You know how AOC went to like a fence and posed for pictures?
Yeah. On the border.
That's what Pelosi did in China.
Yeah.
And, all the liberals got crazy saying, oh my gosh, she's like so for liberation. And it's like, we just created them like 30 years ago. Why would we destroy them? Right? The state created them, the Communist Party. We did it. We did it.
Yep.
And, people don't want to accept that. They're like, no, the 40s, the 50s, it was all American. No, it wasn't. That was the beginning of their plan to make you slaves again. And, because our Senate had agreed and signed off to send weapons to the nationalist Chinese, right, to fight off the communists. And then Truman embargoed it. And we left them with no weapons. They were waiting for weapons, and we didn't send it to them. And then a year and a half later, we released one ship that we parked, and we gave it to them, right? And they were broken. They were missing screws, like they couldn't do anything. They were doing just fine with their, the reeds and sticks and whatever they had, because we gave them nothing. We created China. We created that power. And so we've been controlling it. And Pelosi wanted a piece of that. That's why she became so powerful. She wanted a piece of it. She showed them she had pull with what she did, right? In China with the Tiananmen Square, working up, conversations and everything.
Right.
And then she got in with the Chinese, and to control Feinstein, which was her area, right? She was the one that recommended that driver to Feinstein, the Chinese spy.